I'm Lou from the No Name Nursery.
Hey plant fans, Sonia here. I'm at the Plant Fairs Roadshow today at the Sussex Prairie Gardens. This is their late summer fair. I have come to meet the sellers and to find out exactly what goes on. First, let's set the scene. Where are we? Deep, dark Sussex. So we're fairly close to Brighton. We're at Sussex Prairie Gardens, which is Britain's largest prairie garden, all 8 acres of it, and there's so much height and colour. It's a cracker of a venue, and it's got exactly the right vibe and inspiration to get the punters running to the stalls actually to buy the plants.
In an event like this, which has been really busy today, you can have 1,000 people walking past your stall.
So this is the Plant Fairs Roadshow, which is a collective of specialist and independent nurseries who take themselves on tour around southeast venues. They're usually choosing pretty nice, fancy venues that are famed for their gardens as well, such as Arundel Castle, Board Hill. And I get the impression that they're quite a close-knit little community.
Only like this year I joined. They kindly let me in this year.
Plant Fairs Roadshow group and the other nurseries that are part of the group are just, it's like a family. Everybody's incredibly supportive. Because we all spend quite a lot of time working in isolation. It's really nice that you see people regularly through the summer and kind of pick each other's brains over various
That completely
things.
makes sense.
Yeah, so I'm in now.
Cool.
I'm in the group.
So obviously there's a connection between one member of the community and another, but I think there's also a connection between the grower and the plant.
We are quite picky in as much as we want people who grow their own plants rather than just buy in wholesale, put them on a bit like a sausage factory. That doesn't quite fit with what we're looking for. We do want people who grow their own plants because they have the knowledge that goes with it and the passion, if you like.
I think this is a collective of really interesting, exciting nurseries. They're selling specialist plants. I don't know if they'd agree, but I think they're actually a little bit like Jules Holland, the kind of plants that appear on the Jules Holland show. Very eclectic, maybe even a little bit eccentric, but definitely niche, definitely specialist. And you're likely to find stuff here that you wouldn't necessarily find anywhere else.
People often go, Plectranthus, never heard of it. But they're really closely allied to salvia, as you can see from the flower. They're called spur flower because the tongue, on salvia, the tongue sticks forward, but on Plectranthus, it spurs backwards. But not all of them. So some Plectranthus, it does actually stick out forwards like a tongue.
My nursery is arranged by habitats. You've got jungle, desert, prairie, meadow, waterside. And then what I do is I pick a couple of habitats. Now, because we're at Sussex Prairie Gardens, I have brought a selection of prairie plants from my prairie section.
Makes sense.
But I've also brought some more woodlandy, scrubby plants because I know we quite need to brighten the coast where those kind of plants would work. And then at the moment, jungle is quite popular, so I've brought a whole jungle selection as well. Which hasn't sold as well as the other sections, but there you go, you can't win everything.
But plants like fructicosus here, this is a pink flowered form of fructicosus. This has actually been grown in Britain for 150 years. I mean, it's not a new plant in cultivation in Britain. Victorian head gardeners used to use this plant like the canary in the mine. So before they had, really...
This is speaking to me because I'm from a mining village.
So before the Victorian head gardeners had really reliable thermometers, they'd have a Plectranthus fructicosus out with all their most tender plants.
And that's the first one to go.
And this is the first one. As the temperatures dip below 10 degrees, it takes on a kind of orange hue all over the plant. And it was an indicator to the garden teams to bring in all the most precious tender stuff from their summer holidays out on the terraces around the country houses. So they kind of used it like a canary in the mine.
You were just telling me about the Perovskia Tyger.
Yeah, so Tyger is the species. So but I think there is other species too, but most of the ones that are available are all crosses of crosses, whereas that's the actual main species that most of the crosses were made of.
It's a thoroughbred.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. And it doesn't have the serration in the leaves. But it's not, I think that some of the crosses were more floriferous. So they are quite good, some of them. But that was grown from seed. So I only mainly grow species. Because I am self-taught and I didn't really even understand when I started that obviously you can't grow a cultivar from a seed most of the time. Sometimes you can. And then I just was really interested in species that I couldn't get hold of. And like I specialise in shrub phlomis. So these were all grown from seed as well, because I got them from someone in Greece, the seed, who collects them also. I think because I enjoy growing so much from seed, there's so many plants in the world that still would be good garden plants, but I suppose a lot of my stock's a bit more wild looking and a bit ragged. I'm not really selling like picture perfect flowering perennials. I'm more interested in adaptable species. That's what interests me. And that's what I want to grow and promote, basically.
Here's a bit of a turn up for the books. We've got a plant doctor here who is also providing a personal shopper service. So if you're not sure which, well, I guess he knows the stalls and he can guide people around to best place for what they want. You are billed as the plant doctor?
I am. After I stopped having the nursery, Plant Fairs Roadshow thought it'd be a nice idea to offer customers someone to answer their queries. Sussex Prairies, because it's a real keen gardener's paradise, you get some really interesting questions about, what plants can I have, or what would be nice in a nice spot. I think some people have really got the idea.
If you hire a personal shopper for clothes, they charge about £300 to go walk around and choose the outfits and that. So I think it's a very good offer.
Yeah, well, I think it's a free offer from us. The offer's there. If people want to use it, they can do.
I was talking to a lot of customers today and found that some of them have questions that we can answer about either their garden or the position of a flower border, or maybe they've got gaps to fill. And what you've got here are, 20 different plant stalls with a whole set of expertise. I will often go around and buy plants for myself, and I'm asking them, as the experts growers of those plants, for advice on how to plant it.
Yeah.
So I learn as much here as I do teaching other people.
Sort your chilies out.
Yes. A lot of people say you could make an awful lot more jams and oils, and you could grow far more, but I literally am squeezing into my house. And as my husband reminded me today, the veg garden, a lot of it, 50% of it is now all chilies, and the patio at the front of the house, and both small greenhouses and both polytunnels. So the actual focus of your business, of your product, and mine is obviously chilies, learning about your product and learning the variances across the world and various other things is unbelievably interesting to me. Fascinating, the sizes, shapes, colours, stories, the heat levels. And then you grow as a business, actually understanding more about what the customers want rather than what you want to impose on the customers.
Very important.
These are all in different stages of ripening. As you can see, some are up sky facing, some are hanging down, some are purple to red, some are green to red, some are red to black, some are green to black to red, and it's just an incredible variety. But when people are asking about buying a chilli and they're interested and they don't know much about them, I always ask, where are you going to put it? What do you want to do with it? Do you want to actually cook with it and it look lovely, or would you just like it to be ornamental? But predominantly where it's going to be dictates the size. And they range from lovely little windowsill chilies to 5 foot, 6 foot, 7 foot. The ahis that from Peru, they love to range and go nuts in a greenhouse.
From our orchard.
Really?
So the nursery is 3 acres.
Right.
So only 1/6 of the site is actually the nursery. The rest of the space is our garden, which is where we collect all our prop material from. So we created a garden. We've got an orchard and a nuttery, a big, huge herbaceous border that's 100 metres long. And some organic apples.
The No Name Nursery, we're based in Sandwich. There's a No Name shop and a No Name street. And so that's the local connection. It's a medieval town, and the No Name street has been there for years. Donkeys years.
Right.
We grow such an eclectic mix of plants that we didn't want to kind of pigeonhole ourselves into one type.
That's a really good.
And so the No Name kind of covered all of our...
it's like an umbrella that... then you've still got license to grow whatever you want.
And we've sold quite a few. It's all gone now, a lovely annual grass called Panicum Frosted Explosion, which is lovely for flower arranging.
Oh wow, okay.
And it self-seeds, so that's been a good seller today.
I've actually not heard of that one. But you haven't got any left.
I can't show you any now because it's all gone.
So my nursery has grown from very much a back garden, cold frame,
self-propagated nursery to a nursery with 4 or 5 polytunnels, and each year we're doing a bigger and bigger range of plants and going to more and more events.
It never ceases to amaze me when I go round the different nurseries, the diversity of plants that is on offer. You know, there's everything from cactus to sort of bulbs to tender perennials. Just seeing some of a non-stinging nettle to something like this, which is a ginger, roscoas, and it's just amazing just how many different plants that are on offer to the public, and they're plants that generally they wouldn't find in a garden centre.
If you're a plant fan, this is a really good place to find yourself. The only thing I guess about it is it's limited to the southeast, because these sellers are, most of them are from Kent, Sussex, Surrey. So they're not travelling too far, like they're not making it up north, but you never know. You could be keeping your fingers crossed for that. So for anyone, say, who might be interested, any plant growers who might be interested in joining, I'm assuming they'd have to be in the local area of like
relatively, but I know we go out as far as Suffolk.
All right.
We have people from Suffolk come to us in Hampshire, so it is a relatively large.
Are you discriminating against the North?
No, I just think it's not worth people travelling that far, so they wouldn't want to come down for an event.
This is going to be my last year as a nursery, which is quite sad in many ways, but one of the benefits, one of the best bits, if you like, is working with these people. The other nursery people have been phenomenally supportive, and they recognise that we are trying to do things for their benefit, and they do a tremendous amount to support that. And have a really nice bunch of people, sort of a bunch of friends, really.
I'm going to carry on.
May I ask your name? Because then I can, if I...
Madeline, official is Madeline, Madelaine.
Right, I can see that's something that I need to make sure I spell right.
It's not E like in America.
I'll do that, Jenny, it's all right.
Sorry.
I was on a Kilroy Silk programme about parties once.